What was that?
I think I have a flat tire. Everybody gets a flat tire at some point in their lives, and to be honest, the amount of times you're gonna change a flat tire is probably more times than you're ever gonna need to perform CPR on something. So I'm gonna show you how to change a flat tire. First step to consider whenever you get a flat tire is looking around and making sure that there is some sort of safe place for you to pull over and then start changing the tire. Alright, well, I've got a spare in the back. It'll take a few minutes, but I'm pretty sure I can get it changed.
Let's do it.
Alright then.
Where do they usually keep the spare tires?
Spare tires will either usually be under the trunk lid, which is pretty much this right here, the actual bed of the trunk.
Okay.
And it's either going to be in a convenient compartment under it, or it's going to be mounted directly underneath the vehicle. It just depends on make and model.
Okay, great, thanks.
To apply the wheel chocks or otherwise wheel wedges, these can be pretty much anything. Just make sure you get something behind the tires to make sure that if your car does roll, it doesn't roll very fast. You want to actually chalk the wheels or essentially use some object, cinder block, wood, or something to block the wheels that you're not changing.
So you could use...
If it's a flat on your rear tire, you want to chalk your front tires. If it's a flat on your front tires, you want to chalk the back wheels.
And that's so the car doesn't roll?
Yeah, it's so that the car doesn't roll. And if you don't have like actual wheel chocks, blocks of wood, cinder block will do the same thing. If you're in a parking lot, a piece of the curb will also do.
Alright, so this will be your jack. You usually want to loosen this part enough until you can get this off. Not done.
Okay. Oh great, so what is that called?
It just comes off.
That's called your tire iron.
This part rusted. Folds out like that.
Okay.
And that allows you to break the lug nuts you use.
Oh great, okay.
You're going to want to hand crank this up to about the level of your car.
Or just under it.
So about right there.
Okay.
We're going to get everything.
Yep. The next step is to break the lug nuts loose. Now, unlike what most people will tell you, you always want to do this part while the wheel is still on the ground, because it is much easier to break a lug nut loose while all four tires are on the ground rather than when the vehicle is up in the air. Also, it's a lot safer.
Do you mean just to loosen the lug nuts, sort of?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. The next step is to remove the hubcap or wheel cover. This is mainly on all of your foreign import on most cars because nobody really wants to see lug nuts on their tires anymore nowadays.
Top of that is pop right up on top of it.
Okay.
Just loosen them up, then release them, jack it up, finish it off, switch the tires up, put it back on the can, tighten them, drop it back down, and then retighten.
Okay. Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
So typically, like I said, they'll come with these, which are specially designed to safely go into anchor points.
Okay.
This is what an underside of the car will mainly look like. And if you're not careful, it's very easy to damage something. Fortunately, when you're going through a manual for either your car or for your flat, they will typically tell you where a safe lifting point on the vehicle is. If you want to lift the car, you want to put it on the pinch weld, which you can go look up, frame or the subframe.
Okay.
Just rotate the jack until it finally either hits the subframe, frame, or pinch weld, and then, well, you're in business. Now, here comes the hard part, actually getting the actual vehicle up in the air on your jack. For this, take my head out of there, because I don't want it to get crushed. And this is where you're really gonna have to put some elbow grease into it.
Whose truck is that?
It's good.
All right.
So it's off the ground, right?
Yep, it's off the ground.
Great. Okay.
Well, when you're jacking up your car, you should always put up maybe some wood or maybe something else you've got in your car, just as a small safety net, just in case the jack does fall or it slips off the jack, so that you don't damage your vehicle or somehow hurt yourself while you're doing this.
Okay.
Something that you should always know, something you should always do.
Got it. And now you're taking the lug nuts off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lug nuts are these nuts which hold your tire to the actual, your wheel assembly is essentially to your axle.
And you loosen them before you lift the car, and then you take them off. So now we'll watch you take them off.
The lug and the
And it's done.
they're all one.
So you're now taking off the last lug nut?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Got all the lug nuts
I
loose.
think if somebody borrowed one of his permanently would have probably.
Yeah. Now be careful.
Hey,
You take them all off,
are you waxing?
and
Wax on,
then
wax off? Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Well, you're missing the argument now.
does the whole tire come off?
Yep.
After the lug nuts come off? Okay.
after the lug nuts come off,
Da-da-da!
pops right off.
The tire pops off, and then that's what's underneath.
Yeah. That's your rotor caliper assembly,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Got it.
All right, so when you're changing the spare tire out, always take your old tire or your spare tire, slide it up under the vehicle. If it falls off the jack, it's going to fall on the tire, not on your legs, not on the ground. If it falls on the ground, you're not going to be able to get the jack back under it. So make sure you always take the spare tire. Once you have the spare tire and you're putting it on, take your old tire, slide it underneath the vehicle. That's the trick of the trade.
Got it. It's an important safety trick. Thank you.
I take the tire out of the trunk and you put it on.
Okay. Let's see. So this is the spare,
spare donut.
aka donut.
Yeah. Or it's supposed to look like this, but this is an emergency spare. Well, now I'm just putting this in. This will help line up the holes in my tire to the holes where the studs would normally be.
Okay.
And well, after that, set it on, put the lug nuts on, and go to work.
All right.
Yeah.
Are tires really heavy?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, truck, put it on your foot, slide it in that way.
Ah.
That's all we actually do when I work at Sam's Club.
Huh.
Just put it on your foot, on your right foot. That way you can just kind of lift it with your foot and mangle with your hands and your foot.
Start putting the lug nuts back in.
Yep. Start putting them back in. Righty tighty, lefty loosey.
Righty tighty,
Yeah.
lefty loosey. Got it.
Alright, and well, I've tightened the last lug nut. All that's left to do is take this piece out, lower the car down, and well, hopefully I can get a replacement tire within 50 miles. You don't want to go past 50 miles or 50 miles an hour on a donut. It's just not safe.
Right. And if you do, you could hurt the rim, which will then cost $700 or $800, right?
Yep. Of course, if your vehicle comes with a hubcap or a lug nut cover, make sure to replace that, put that back on, and then you want to restore all of your equipment. You know, if you used a torque wrench, tire iron, jack, wheel chocks, you want to put all of your equipment away. Turn off the hazards, turn off the parking brake, and then drive to the nearest tire shop, essentially, because they'll fit you with a full-size tire instead of a spare, because with spares you don't want to go on one or over 50 miles an hour.